big game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Folsom Oak Ridge. It's a big game. Anybody wants to watch some football, it's a big game tomorrow night. And what was this question again?
Well, first of all, I mean, what do you make of that matchup?
I, that's a great question. I mean, I have not seen Folsom play. Um, the quarterback is supposed to be something special, and obviously the history of their program is unbelievable. But Oak Ridge has a tight end going to Alabama, and the quarterback the last time I went looked pretty good slinging that thing. So hopefully it'll be a good matchup. But I know it's highly anticipated, which is exciting.
Can you tell they get excited when you show up and you're on the sideline?
The players,
School
the
players,
school.
people.
Yes. I mean, sometimes it's for me. It's just exciting for me. Like when I was at Grant, I was just enamored by everything the whole game. I'm constantly looking around, and I felt a little embarrassed because I got video on here, and so here I'm taking video and pictures, just of the environment and the band and all that other stuff, and so for me, it's probably just as exciting being in that environment or atmosphere as for them. I'm assuming. So.
Are you liking what you're seeing in the progress of this team?
Yeah, I am. Again, this is our fourth practice, and we've thrown a lot at them in a short amount of time. And so for them to be able to pick it up this quickly, it's been really good to see. We still have ways to go, but I definitely like the direction that we're going. We talked about it at the beginning of training camp at our team dinner. It's like climbing a mountain, and it's about the journey, it's about the process. And I said this before, if we're a mountain expedition team and we skip a detail or a step, that could be tough for all of us, and it could be death for any of us. We don't necessarily face that, but that hopefully continues to put the perspective of let's don't skip any details. Let's keep trying to climb forward, knowing that we're going to get knocked back every once in a while, but let's try to eliminate that by taking care of all the small details in front of us, and our guys are doing a good job with that right now.
Speaking of details, Keegan yesterday was talking about talking, and everyone was talking about him talking more, and then Colby was just talking about talking more.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys have been empowering, or is that something just the vets are talking about and trying to empower in the young guys? What's going on there?
Well, no, just as a staff, and I think the vets can attest to this, anytime you have a group of players on the floor and they're constantly talking, and they're talking with confidence, in a loud and continuous voice, it can give you less confidence as an opposing team because it's like their whole team is engaged. The whole team's on the same page. They're barking stuff before we even get to it. And I'll never forget the Detroit Pistons team when it had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups and Tayshaun Prince. I think they were coached by Larry Brown. I was head coach in Cleveland, but that was one of the best teams that I've ever gone against defensively because one time down the floor, they may talk, and a pick and roll happens, they may blitz it. The next time down, they're talking amongst each other, and they may switch it. Next time down, they may ice it or send it to the baseline. And so, especially as a young team, we were a fairly young team at the time, every time we played them, we were always off balance because we never knew what type of defense they were in because they just talked it. And they talked it loud, they talked it continuous, and it also intimidated us a little bit. I know my ex-players, will be like, no, it didn't. It did a little bit, but it definitely kept us off balance. And so we want to try to instill that in our guys right now so that everybody's on the same page. I don't have to worry about what's behind me because I know my teammate behind me is going to let me know. My teammate behind me is going to be my eyes and ears. And so that's just something we've been preaching from day one. Luke, Doug, all our coaches have been great at it, and our vets are starting to get into it too, especially telling the younger guys or the less talkative guys in Keegan to speak up.
With some of the injuries you have, some of these younger guys are getting an opportunity with that second unit. What's been your impression with some of these young guys, the two-way guys? What stood out to you about them so far?
It's a little tough for them because they're still trying to get a feel. Like they're able to script what we're doing offensively and defensively when there's no defense, pretty easy because they're pretty smart. They got a good feel for what we're doing. But then when we go live, it's a little tougher because now you got bodies flying around. You do have some people talking. You're getting hit. You're getting bumped off your spot. You think you see a gap, but then it closes. And so now, okay, where's everybody else at? So there's a lot going on when you play 5-on-5 or 3-on-3 or whatever it is. Having said all that, there are some guys that, in my opinion, are doing some nice things. Terry's done a heck of a job crashing. He's done a heck of a job defending. Boogie has done a heck of a job trying to defend and use one of his strengths, which is his speed. And so when you're looking at Mason Jones is another guy that, he shot 50-something% from the three last year, maybe even the year before, but he's starting to understand what his strengths are and how to hide his weaknesses better. But if you're a young guy and you have some size, one of the things you can always do is crash. You can always crash, and that's what Terry is. He's putting pressure on our vets and everybody else because every time that shot goes up on offense on the floor, he is crashing. He's crashing hard. So as a young guy, even if you don't quite have it figured out what we're trying to do offensively and defensively, there are little things that you can do, which always rebound, both ends of the floor, run the floor extremely hard, sit down and guard your guy. Those things can be contagious amongst the younger guys, and I would say Terry is probably leading the charge that way. Boogie Ellis is close. Is probably a close second behind him. Mason is doing some nice things out there, so we just have to get the other younger guys to follow suit.
Post-ball campaigns like like Jaden and Orlando, even Scal a little bit. How do you, might be a little too early, but how do you see all those guys individually? They obviously bring something different, but all have some length to them, which is probably needed. Do you see like there's a big opportunity for those three players?
There's a huge opportunity, and not just now in training camp because we guys have some guys out. We all experienced it last year. We had injuries through the regular season that we didn't face the year before, which gave a guy like Keon an opportunity. And now look at where Keon is. And so, these guys have to understand, which I think they do, how precious these moments are for them, because it can get you from a two-way guy or an Exhibit 10 guy or a guy that's not factored into being in the rotation. You could be there quickly. And it's going to probably take a little extra work and concentration and trying to find your niche. And that's why I said your niche is not going to be scoring. We have plenty of scoring out there. Your niche may be, hey, if I'm open, that ball comes to me, I better knock down this catch and shoot three. At least until I can establish myself and then spread my wings from there. So all these guys have an opportunity right now, but this is not going to be their only time to have an opportunity. This is just the beginning for them, so they got to make sure they embrace it as much as they can and they try to take advantage of it.
Does running fives give you an opportunity to see the sort of shape that everybody came into camp in?
Yeah, for sure, because that's a different shape than running up and down the floor. And I think I might have said this yesterday. Day one, I thought Malik might have looked a little out of shape. Now, I say this because he had a leg injury that did not allow him to play 5-on-5 the entire summer. He didn't start playing 5-on-5 basically until camp started. And so when you play 5-on-5, that's a different type of shape than what running up and down the floor puts you in. Just trying to get your win, or even hopping on a bike or a treadmill or anything like that. Yesterday and today, he looked really good. I compliment one of the things I complimented him on is his closeout to high five and contest. I thought he was really good at that. And once or twice, guys might have made a bucket, but his effort level to try to get there was fantastic. And so, all of our guys need to continue to get in better shape. But that's part of our job to help them do that. And our guys are leaving it out on the floor. And so I have no complaints of where we are right now, knowing that we got to continue climbing that mountain together in that category and others.
Mike,
Talk about
Mike, yesterday Luke was talking about the concept and you're contesting shots from the perimeter, basically high five the shooter. We saw Keon do that today, exactly that. This is your third year, you and your staff's third year. is it easier? And then that's not a new concept, but is it easier because it's your third year when you introduce concepts? You see players picking up on it more easily, and the back and forth between you guys and the players a lot more smooth.
100%. Now, one of the things that when we first got here, we didn't talk about the high five closeout. Our closeout was to the body, and then we contested. We just said, hey, get a hand up to contest. We broke the technique down a little bit more to the high five contest about halfway through last year. And that's what really helped propel our three-point defense, in my opinion. That helped us take a big step forward. So, having said that about the high five contest, yes, there are a lot of concepts that we've been talking and teaching since day one, and you can see it, feel it, however you want to call it, especially with our veterans or a core that's been here. There's a comfort level that they have out on the floor that makes it easier to teach and move on to the next thing now than last year and especially the year before.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.